Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy, and I am an angel, and I am going to tell you a story like no other. Are you ready? A long time ago, the angel Gabriel brought a message to Mary that she was going to have a baby. The angel told her this baby would be great, and that Mary should call him Jesus, which means the one who saves. Sure enough, it was just as Gabriel said. Mary was almost ready to have her baby. Now, Mary and Joseph had to take a trip to Bethlehem, the town King David was born. But when they reached the little town, they found every room was full. Every bed was taken. "Go away," the innkeepers told them. "There isn't any place for you." Where would they stay? Soon Mary's baby would come. They couldn't find anywhere except an old tumble-down stable. So they stayed where the cows and the donkeys and the horses stayed, and there, in the stable, amongst the chickens and the donkeys and the cows, in the quiet of night, God gave the world a wonderful gift. The baby that would change the world was born, a baby boy. Mary and Joseph wrapped him up to keep him warm. They made a soft bed of straw and used the animal's feeding trough as his cradle. And they gazed in wonder at God's great gift, wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. Mary and Joseph named him Jesus, which, if you recall, means the one who saves. He was also called Emmanuel, which means God has come to live with us. Because, of course, God had. That same night, in amongst the other stars, suddenly a bright new star appeared. Of all the stars in the dark, vaulted heavens, this one shone clearer. It blazed in the night and made the other stars look pale beside it. God put it there when this baby was born, to be like a spotlight shining on him, lighting up the darkness, showing people the way. You see, God couldn't keep the good news to God's self. God had waited so long and wanted to tell everyone. So God pulled out all the stops. God sent an angel to tell Mary the good news and put a special star in the sky to show where Jesus was. And then God sent a big choir of angels to sing a happy song to the world. Here he is. He has come. Go and see him, Jesus. Now, where would you send your splendid choir? To a big concert hall, maybe? Or a palace, perhaps? God sent his choir of angels to a little hillside outside a little town in the middle of the night. God sent all those angels to sing for a raggedly old bunch of shepherds watching their sheep outside Bethlehem. In those days, remember, people used to laugh at shepherds and say they were smelly and call them other rude names, which I can't possibly mention here. You see, people thought shepherds were nobodies, just scruffy old riffraff. But God must have thought shepherds were very important indeed, because they're the ones God chose to tell the good news to first. That night, some shepherds were out in the open fields warming themselves by a campfire when suddenly the sheep darted. They were frightened by something. The olive trees rustled. What was that? A wing beat? They turned around. Standing in front of them was a huge light blazing into the darkness. "Don't be afraid of me," the angel said. "I haven't come to hurt you. I've come to bring you happy news for everyone, everywhere. Today, in David's town, in Bethlehem, God's Son has been born. You can go see him. He's sleeping in a manger. Behind the angel, they saw a strange glowing cloud, except it wasn't a cloud. It was more angels, lots and lots of angels with light all around them. And they were singing a beautiful song, "Glory to God." Then, as quickly as they appeared, the angels left. The shepherds stamped out their fire, left their sheep, raced down the grassy hill, through the gates of Bethlehem, down the narrow cobbled streets, through a courtyard, down some steps, past an inn, round a corner, through a hedge, until at last they reached a tumble-down stable. They caught their breath. Then quietly, they tiptoed inside. They knelt on the dirt floor. And there he was, the one they had heard about, sleeping in his mother's arms. This baby would be like that bright star shining in the sky that night, a light to light up the whole world, helping people to see. Far away in the east, 3 clever people saw the very same star. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. They had been waiting for this star. They knew it would come. "He's here!" they shouted. "He's here!" And I'm sure if you'd have been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things just right for a king. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, down into steep, deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day, day and night, until at last they reached Jerusalem. They thought for sure that King Herod would know where the baby king was, but he didn't, and King Herod didn't like the sound of it either. He didn't want anyone else to be king but him. But Herod's advisors told the wise people to go to Bethlehem. Sure enough, the star showed them the way. They followed the star down a dirt track to a little house. Wait, this wasn't a palace. There weren't any guards or servants or flags or red carpets or trumpets or anything. Did they get it wrong? But there he was, sitting on his mother's knee. They found the baby king. He was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he was poor. Though he was the mighty God, he was a helpless baby. The king hadn't come to be boss. He had come to be a servant. They called him Jesus. And he would change the world.